Hey everybody, Hugh here. Welcome back. Well, this is the July Courtyard update. As you can see, things are looking very well. The weather has really turned since the last update, where we had quite a lot of, I suppose, wet weather. It wasn't so much cool, but definitely wet. And then, of course, there was that wind as well, which has had its challenges for the plants that have been growing, because they've been for a month going, this is lovely warm weather, let's do our thing, and that's great. So when the cooler sort of or wetter or whatever weather comes along, then they're suddenly going, how do we cope with this? So that's definitely had its challenges for us. But you can see, after doing plenty of revamping and plenty of changing things around, things are looking very, very well again. What I'll do before I go into the tour of this courtyard, I hope what I'll do is I'll put up the clip that I took before we changed, showing you some of the things that hadn't been doing so well, and then we can get back to this one. So some of the tasks that have to be done, as you will see, the likes of some of the deadheading there, the cosmos. There's some plants that have not done so well for whatever reasons, and you can see the osteospermum. I suspect that's to do with the weather turning and the soil being cold and wet. Some of the pansies, although they look okay from a distance, when you actually get into them, they're just beginning to look a little bit tattered. Now, we've done well out of them. We've gotten months and months of flowers, but there is a time, like everything, when they need to go. And there's some flowers that have naturally gone over. These guys have actually, I'm not quite sure, they are hookers. They were attacked by vine weevil over winter. I'm not quite sure why they've collapsed like this. It's not usual for vine weevil at this time of year, but when you see them collapse like that, that's a worry. So it'll have to be investigated. And the likes of these guys, the foxgloves, have literally just gone over in flower, as have the likes of the bellis. So plenty, maintenance wise, to be done just to bring it back up to a standard. So we're going to crack on with that and have a look what it's like once we're done. So if the technology has worked for me, that'll give you an idea of what some of the challenges were, and then you can identify some of the changes maybe that have been going on since the last update. But let's do a tour and give you an idea of what's in flower, what's looking well. And of course you can see just outside the door there we have our square tub, and some plants hanging off it there. There's a holly in there, and there's a little Louisia which has had flowers and is now coming back into flower. Underneath here you can see the acer, the lovely green acer Judith bought, and then underneath that there's two white flowers. One of them is a white alstroemeria that we've been looking out for, and the white cosmos, which we've deadheaded and given a little bit of a perk up. You can see the hookers are looking well there. There's a golden one that was up on the windowsill last month and flowering away. Now it's down there with the foliage, and of course that wild rose one we've had, along with a couple of grasses. And I think as the season changes and as we go towards the end of summer next month and then into autumn time, you'll see more of the grasses featuring, because we do have some from the side. A lovely bronze hooker there, and behind that there's lobelia. Osteospermums, always great doers when it's sunny. And interestingly, this courtyard is a shaded courtyard, but it doesn't matter during the summer, because really it just means it gets sun in the afternoon right till late evening. So you can see osteospermums waiting for the sun to shine, and another osteospermum there. The purple one we had is gone, but sure, such is the way. Another alstroemeria. When we bought it we thought it was white and it turns out to be a yellow, but we'll take it. And we saw the white cosmos, and there's 2 more cosmos there. So cosmos and alstromerias and osteospermums will feature quite strongly, you'll see in this video. Our one and only fuchsia to survive over winter. I think that's swing time. That variety with the red and white, and of course some foliage plants there, making quite a nice trio. So you've got the heathers that we got at Christmas time for our euro or 2. Euonymus we picked up along the way, and of course the big foliage coleus with some weather damage to the leaves, I think. Some of the calla lilies coming back into flower, and of course some more grasses. We've put most of the good looking geraniums up on the windowsill now, capturing there, because it's a nice sunny spot when the sun hits, and it's sheltered from the worst of the rain, so it keeps those petals going. And of course a euphorbia with that nice dwarf tuya in the background. 2 more alstromerias. Can you see the Indian summer and an unknown pink variety? Can you see the trend for the alstromerias? We've become a fan of them. And then in this back area of the courtyard here, before we hit the pot pond, loads of lush foliage, Hakenacloa grass, a variegated hebe just finishing in flower, ginkgo biloba, a weeping variety that we were looking at. There is a honeysuckle and a viburnum in there, as well as a rose and a palm, and more Hakenacloa and more hebe. Those cannas, I thought they were dead over winter, but you can see they've come back very beautifully. And that's being in the grow tunnel, which has been brilliant. And that wisteria that had lovely blue trailing flowers in the spring has a second flush of flowers. It's only 1 lot of flowers, but we'll take it. We'll take it. And that lovely red acer that so many people have commented on, looking very beautiful there. It's lovely foil against all the different green foliage. And of course the water lily, or our pot pond, which really has been super this year. We've been very happy with it. And I was having a look during the other day, and you can see a water lily flower that I hope comes to fruition. I might remove one or 2 of those leaves. It's quite full, and you can see the leaves fighting for space, so that's never a good sign for a water lily. And of course the iris is going full on. Mixture of plants underneath there, the lower growth, some more heather, and you've got an ajuga and geranium and andina as well. There's a few different mixes of plants giving that effect. It's just like a woodlandy garden effect. And of course here most of the violas and pansies are going over, but these ones and the yellow ones have survived fairly well, so that's nice to see. So we kept them with the hostas, and there's a sedum there and some bruneras I think as well. So a nice mixture. And then we come away to the table where we sit, and yes, we do empty the table when we're sitting outside. We take the lavenders down and we take the flowers down and we set the table. It only takes a few minutes, and then up they go again. A couple of pieces of broken terracotta pot, so we'll see what we'll do with those. And some more geraniums, and yet another alstroemeria down there. And where would we be without a little bin just to put our leftovers in from the garden. We did have pansies hanging there. We do have more hanging pots that we potted up the other day. They're in the tunnel. Judith got some hanging flowers, leftovers of the basket plants in one of the garden centres for 50 cents each. So we have 12 hanging pots now, so little hanging pots. So she's after getting 12 of them, so that's great. They'll feature at some point. And of course the cornus controversa variegata. You see the layers of variegated leaves, very beautiful. This probably is the darkest corner of the lot and the shadiest, but you can see the big tree fern is there. And of course, a couple of other plants as well featuring. Just while we talk about acers, I'm flicking around there. I covered them all last month, but there's golden acers holding its foliage very nicely, very nicely. And variegated berberis. The new foliage of that particular variety, Rose Glow, is always that variegated. I brought it indoors. When I say indoors, under cover of the tunnel, just to give it a blast of heat to get it growing, because that's what we get from it. And of course, our succulent stand. Some more callas, and on top there, some more grasses waiting on the wings, waiting their turn. And yes, that is a little parsley plant we bought. We potted on. It'll hold its greenery very nicely, and of course we'll use it too. So there you go. Plants as always grown in pots, because we can't grow anything in the ground here because we are renting. So a nice pot collection. It really is fabulous just to spend time pottering about here. The soil we use is about a third homemade compost, third bagged manure we buy, and a third topsoil that we buy. So it's my special mix, or our special mix, just to hold the moisture and the nutrients and to keep the plants growing fairly strong. We do add in a little bit of bone meal or seaweed fertilizer, trying to keep things as organic as we can. Encourage much of the soil life as we can, because the plants thrive on it. But yeah, lovely place to spend time, and of course the enjoyment of arranging the plants as well. As always, thanks very much for watching. Of course, do like, give a thumbs up, and subscribe if you haven't already done so, and hit the bell. Look after yourselves, and see you on the next one. Bye for now.